I want to go to France, though, because there's a couple players to discuss here. Eric Palmer-Brown plays center back for us. Troyes is his French club, and they lost 4-0 to Reims. Now, on Reims is this kid, 21-year-old Folarin Balogun, who we still are trying to – that's like our purpose in 2023 is to get Balogun to play for the U.S. men's national team and commit to us instead of England because he can.
Yeah, after we got Copa America,
He's got it. Listen, he scored again in this game, Heath, and he now leads Ligue in goals with 15. I just throwing that out there. There's some really good players. You got Mbappe, you got Neymar, they're all on one team, and Messi and all this. But he is leading Ligue with 15 goals. That is awesome. And that makes me feel like England is definitely going to put their nails into him and not let him go. And then you have Timo Weah, who played for Lille and started in their 2-0 win versus Strasbourg. And he played left back. So I just wanted to talk about some players that we have in France because it's all popping off.
Yeah, it's incredible. And again, the Balogun one is going to be up to him I'm guessing it's going to be decided on wherever he makes his move this summer, right? And that will dictate the odds, I believe, of in the short term or long term, him having a future with the national team. So if he makes a big move to a big club and can get to that level, then he could play for England. But again, we've talked about it before. Maybe it's worth the potential 3 caps he gets or the potential 70 caps he gets, depending on where he goes. But for the U.S., that was the sell with Yunus Musah as the team, the youth of the team. He's going to be the same age group as most of the guys that are building our national team culture right now, that are building the results. And that could be a 10-year project, including hosting a World Cup. So I think there's some real attractive nature to it. And I think we are just at a point where we offer a pretty nice proposition, especially for a team that, Balogun, you could call him deep lying striker as well, or whatever position you want to put him into. He's a goal scorer and he's showing that. And so I think him looking at our national team on paper, you're like, oh yeah, there's a spot for me right here. And I could own this spot for a decade if I perform.
I got to hear from our resident number 9, Charlie Davies, on this, because not only is it Balogun playing for the U.S. or England, but there's talk about Mikel Arteta bringing him back to Arsenal. I don't know if they have room for him, so he might be on the move once again, to Heath's point. But his future is incredibly bright, and when he plays with confidence, like he is currently, he feels unplayable.
Well, he just looks like he'd be the perfect complement to our attacking trio, to our midfield. He's dynamic. He can score goals, but he's comfortable with the ball at his feet. He's like the missing piece. He is literally the missing piece. So I'm really interested to see what is the line of communication with him. How many times have we reached out to his representatives? Have we had a conversation about potentially making the switch? If I'm putting myself in his shoes and I feel so strongly about England, I've played with the youth national teams, I know all the players, I want to prove to myself that I'm good enough to play there. Sometimes you're going to take that time. You're going to say, all right, I'm going to keep working because I've come this far. I'm not going to turn my back now, so to speak, on my country that I feel the most close to and the most pride for. But you also have to be a realistic striker, a realistic player, and Harry Kane's not going anywhere. They only play with one striker. I think
we got to get him on the show, man.
Knowing the project right now, that you could be the main striker for the U.S. men's national team, as long as you stay healthy and you keep striving to maximize your potential, that you could be balling with your boy Yunus Musah. You could be playing with Christian Pulisic. You can play with Timo Weah and Weston McKennie and Tyler Adams and Luca Del Torre and Brendan Aronson. All these players who play in Europe who have an immense amount of potential, like yourself, young, right. World Cup coming. Why wouldn't you say, hey, this is what I want to do? I think it comes with, obviously, convincing. You have to have someone who's got a good sales pitch. So give me a call whenever you need, U.S. Soccer. But I think that's just literally the player we're missing. We are missing that player in this pool to get us over the hump.
I can't wait for us to get him on the show, and that's how I want you to plead to him. Okay, we're missing you.
We are missing you.
You are the missing piece to this puzzle for us to have tremendous.
What's it going to take?
I can also tell you that nobody from a club called Reims is going to be a regular in the England national team. There is a connection to club size to play at a national team like that. Now, club size is all relative because you have smaller, I'm using air quotes here, clubs in England that players are in the national team. And you have, we have World Cup winners that play for Brighton. You know what I mean? So it's not that. But when I think about a striker for England, I don't think, other than maybe Wayne Rooney for coming to the U.S., you're not going to get call-ups playing another season at that level of club, right? He's going to have to go. He might get a call up, but to be in, he's going to have to be a goal scorer at a big club because it is England. It's the English national team. They have options and they have depth,
Right.
And
interesting times. Interesting times.
It's just, he's a player that we just don't have. You could say Tyler Adams, for instance, any center back that we have, you can say, okay, we could maybe find someone like him. Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, that mold. We make a lot of players in our country. We make a lot of players like that. Athletic, can cover a lot of space, not to that level, not as good as a Tyler Adams, but those are the players that we can make in this country, and we have a lot of them. As far as attacking players that can score goals, that can beat you 1v1, that have that real sense of timing and understanding, just they're different. They stand out. You look at them and say, okay, we don't have too many players like this in this country. Okay. That's why we need a player like him. We need that to kind of spearhead.
I hope you're sending this. Can we clip this off, producer Alex, and send this to Balogun so he sees it directly? Okay. So a couple more stories, and then we'll send everybody on their way. We look forward to having you join us again on Thursday for Thursday's podcast. Unfortunately, Charlie is flying away to do some stuff for the Champions League and Europa League in London. We're so proud of him. But I want to talk about this. Tim Ream, 35 years old, Fulham, 2-0 win this past weekend against Nottingham Forest. He leads all players in the Premier League, outfield players, not goalkeepers, in minutes in the Premier League played. 35. The guy's having his best year at the age of 35. Obviously, he was tremendous for us in the World Cup as well, and an incredible just success story, I guess, in terms of perseverance and longevity and taking care of himself, both on and off the field. Do you bring him in now? Is he the guy? Do we continue to play him?
Yes.
I'm just saying. I'm just having that as a conversation because
that's not even a conversation.
But
he's playing in the Premier League and starring in the Premier League, he has to be called in.
He's not playing for us in the 2026 World Cup.
Okay.
Maybe not even in Copa America. So why not give those minutes to other guys? Listen, I'm a Tim Ream fan. I would love to continue to see him play. It's an incredible story. We see the Ronaldos and Messis and these old guys. Thiago Silva for Brazil. Like, you get these old defenders that have just been around. They know what to do, and they just have this coolness and calmness about them, which I think permeates to the rest of the players and keeps everybody else cool and calm. I want him involved, but just as a conversation piece, do you think it's in the best interest of the program and for our younger center backs to miss out on those minutes? That's all I wanted. I just want to have that conversation.
Yeah, and I would say yes, because across the world, if you're good enough to play, no matter your age, you're still playing. It literally would be up to Tim Ream to say, do I still want to continue to play international soccer?
He said he does.
Right. But typically when players get to that age, they say, all right, I'm not making that crazy travel, the flight from England to Florida to Central America. Then I got to fly back. I was doing that when I was playing in France. And I remember when I got back, I was always fatigued. We got back on a Thursday or Friday. We had a game on Saturday. You're thinking, how can I be at 100% to play in this game? And a lot of the times my coach would just say, you're coming off the bench.
Yep.
You're coming off the bench. You're not playing. And you're giving another player an opportunity to
and you've been out.
Run with it.
And most of your teams at that level, at Sochaux or Hammarby, most of those players are still there, right? Maybe Sweden, they had some players in the national team, but like most of those players are there training. And you're giving an opening to a player to start. You're giving an opening to a player to be in that environment when you're not there. It's tough. I'm not saying that's the case with Tim Ream, but when I look at Tim Ream's age, yes, he's considerably older. But I would also say Aaron Long and Walker Zimmerman aren't going to be part of the 26 roster.
No.
Yes,
29 and 29 and 30 respectively. They're in their 32, 33.
Yes, they're part of that same conversation.
So when I think about that, I think about where are our best players, and how do you balance out the transition to the next generation, hoping that some step up, right? Eric Palmer-Brown, Chris Richards. You've got again Mark McKenzie's, depending on where he ends up on a good season. But you have all these players that you need a leader that can play in that position? And is it better to have a left center back or a right center back based on the next players coming through that you can at least have that stability up the spine moving forward? I'd rather have Tim Ream, and I think he's proven us all wrong at a certain point in his ability to contribute at the level that he is at this age.
Listen, you're such an MLS homer picking 2 Premier League center backs as you're starting US.
Well, no, I was going to say the YouTube comment, Life of Bree, he says, Greg played Zardes for 3 years. Why not use Ream in the build-up / qualifiers? Even if
We've
he
seen
doesn't
that before
play,
with plenty of players.
Right? Yes. It's not that Tim Ream has lowered his standard. He's still playing in the Premier League and one of the best center backs in the league. Bring him in, because this is that moment for a young center back to say, oh, I've been watching Tim Ream.
That's what it should look like.
This is how you carry yourself. This is how a top center back acts in training, performs in training, reacts in training. That's the template. So you want players who are playing at the highest level to be involved in the camp. That's 100%. Now, if Tim Ream said, I'm done with Europe, I'm coming back to MLS, and now I'm on cruise control, that's a whole different story. But if he's playing in the Prem and he's playing for Fulham, he's playing well, you call him up. As long as he wants to be in the program, yes, you got to call him up.